This is why we check the levels, so you don't just hear nothing. Okay, let's make sure this is why we check the levels. Ah! Okay, let's make sure this is why we check the ah! Okay, let's make sure this is why we check the ah! Okay, great. Oh, I didn't mean to close that. Oh well, it's closed now. Stop unplugging. Okay. So welcome back to the Monday Night Live Stream. I'm Rob, host of Spread AViation podcast, usually with Matt. Matt doesn't play video games because he's an adult, I guess. And we're back with Microsoft Senior Simulator 2020 because that seems to be all it's good at. 14 years in the making. G1000 systems have been available for, I don't know, close to 20 years at this point. And I had this whole plan. I was going to start this series. And it was supposed to be, let me turn this down just a bit. It was supposed to be an homage or kind of a living out of a fantasy that Matt, Spread AViation Matt, and I had, which was to fly from our home field of Bedford in Massachusetts, and we were going to go all the way over to, I gotta zoom out more, and we were going to go all the way over to, I don't know, somewhere, Liverpool, Manchester, probably like the Heathrow or Gatwick or someplace in this area, for New Year's. So it was our plan to take a Cessna 206 from Bedford over to here, and we were going to do it by hopping over top of all the islands. So like we would, let's see, what was our first stop? Like Newfoundland. We were going to go, no, not there. I had this the other day. Anyway, we were going to go hopping up here. Maybe this was it. No, not Goose Bay. See, here's the other interesting thing. I had all these like recents in the histories. This is not. I haven't done this in a while. Let me look here. Recents. Okay, but CYGR. So yeah, we're gonna hop there. Of course, putting in all these. No, it was YQX. Yeah, Gander. Okay, so we're gonna go to Gander, and then hop on over to where we can get to from here. It's nighttime, so let's get it today because we can't see anything. And now I've forgotten how to change the weather. Live, no, off, custom, daytime. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, we were going to fly to there and then make the big hop over to here. Let's see. It was somewhere up in here. After that, show me airports. Show me airports. What is this? There's some neat stuff there. Okay. Fine, we're going to go to there. Can I just create a navlog? No, I can't put in intermediate waypoints. Whatever. We're going to do this whole flight where we flew, what is it? Greenland, Iceland, Scotland, and then down into England. And my goal with Microsoft Flight Sim was to replicate that. And I was going to do this big multi-part series. Since there's no 206, I was going to use the Bonanza. Somewhat similar performance, somewhat. But in testing over the weekend to try and get it to do it, the G1000 was so poorly implemented that when the functionality is not there, the approaches aren't there, the logic of how the buttonology and the switchology works is not there at all. And it's not like this is a new system that's not been around forever. I mean, this is definitely older stuff. And so Microsoft was either too cheap to pay the licensing to Garmin, or was too lazy to actually contact Garmin and be like, hey, Flight Sim X was the baseline, was the base software for pretty much everything in Redbird's lineup of flight simulators, which are AATDs. They're certified by the FAA for flight training. You can work towards your instrument rating in commercial and you technically even do some private stuff and IPCs. You can do certified training in the Redbird. They have acrylic displays that are G1000, mimic the functionality of the G1000. They have all this stuff. It's certified. And guess what? I'm willing to bet that new sim manufacturers would say, hey, yeah, we want to use Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 and its better model to be our next sim, to be our next baseline for this thing. And they didn't bother to put in the work. So 14 years on apparently no flight models. The flight models are hot garbage. The avionics are a dumpster fire at best. ATC, okay, I get it. Nobody plays this for ATC. Well, no, there are probably some people that play this for ATC, so I won't slam them. But the automated ATC that's in here is trash. So what did we wait 14 years for? Real-time weather, we kind of had that. It looks a little better now. High detailed terrain and maps and things. There's taxiway lights in the middle of taxiways. There's a handful of handcrafted airports. That's what we waited 14 years for. That's what this big tout out was. That's what $130 gets you. Oh, and not to mention, we don't have all the aircraft yet. There's supposed to be a 58 Baron in here and some other stuff. I can't even remember what it is anymore. I don't understand. So, I don't know. So anyway, I built this to do this mission and actually tested it yesterday to try and do this first leg in the Baron, or in the Bonanza, to get out here. And as I got to about this spot, and it was time to load and activate the approach for this airport here, which was IFR in real world, and they were loading the weather, it cycled back to this first waypoint and would not I could not get the G1000 to cycle to the approach, to the initial on the approach. So let's see, it was the ILS-13 last night. And this is a DME arc. And there's waypoints all in along here, and it won't show you what it is. But this is a DME arc. And I wanted it to cycle to this waypoint. And I could not get the G1000 to cycle to it. So, okay, it won't cycle in the flight plan. It won't cycle in the profile of the approach. I'll just type it in direct and feed the approach to itself. I type in the name of the waypoint, and it takes me to something that's 2,000 miles over here. Just kind of mind-boggling. So anyway, let's just do some local approaches. Let's go to Lawrence. Well, the weather's good here. Where's some bad weather? I want to see how this does with bad weather. Okay, let's see here. There's some garbage weather. Let's do this. Raleigh-Durham International from... kind of want to go controlled to controlled. Yeah, we can go Fayetteville. Yeah, FAY to RDU. Let's do that. I'm just now, because I'm just making it up because the plans have kind of ruined everything I wanted to do. I'm like, nope, can't do it. So let's just see how the system does Departures direct. Let's just go direct. And let's look at the weather here at Raleigh Durham. Oh, winds are variable at 3. Okay. Looks like they are using... Expected visual approach only 2-3 left, 2-3 right, 3-2. So there's some thunderstorms in the area. I think they're using 2-3s. Let's just plug in 2-3. Look at that. Big old arc around there. 53 nautical miles. Okay, fine. What's our altitude? 5,000 for 53 nautical miles. Let's just make it 3,000. Oh, is there terrain? Looks like we'll be clear. And they're going to lift us up anyway to 4. Okay, fine. We'll do 4. Find the minimum vectoring. And got low altitude airways there. That's fine. And we will do this live. That's fine. It'll be night, though. This is poor planning. All players. Fine. Live players. I don't care. Live traffic. Great. Do it. Let's go AI traffic. What else can we do here? Okay, so... Oh. Change the tail number. Have to change this every single time. Okay, get that in there. I think that's what everything I want. Okay, so this should be, let's double check the flight condition. 8:13 p.m. live weather. Okay. Let's see how this goes. All right. I want to like this game. I want to like it a lot. And I'm calling it a game. I don't care if they call it a sim. I'm calling it a game. And maybe I'm a bit jaded because this is where a lot of pilots my age and flight sim enthusiasts got their start. They got their start with Microsoft Flight Simulator in, I don't know, 95 or 81 or 82 or whatever it was. Like, this was what kicked it off for a lot of people. What lit the first spark. And we have these memories from being little kids or from the first time that we played. And maybe our memory is better than the game actually was. Maybe our memory distorts this because we didn't know any better. But it's 2020. And with the technology that we have, I don't think it should have the flaws that it does. What was that? Okay. Still running. Let's get some lights on here. Okay, we don't need any of that. Outside our temp is plenty warm. Get rid of that. Check out the flight plan. We'll get nav mode toggled up and vertical speed. Flight director is on. Does reversionary mode work? No. Should have just made it in op, guys. Alright, G1000, I do like to have the flight plan up on the MFD with the moving map up. I do like that. Okay, so we're clear for takeoff. Would love to get a clearance on manage radio here. Gonna let the ATC do that. Clear for takeoff, runway 22218 Sierra Alpha. Okay, make sure it's possible forward fuel pump. I would turn it on. Well, I can. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, here we go. Landing light isn't casting forward. It's casting down. It's not casting forward. 75, rotate. Positive rate. Tap the brakes, gear up. Flaps coming up. Let's get the autopilot on. We get an altitude select in here. 4,000. Probably a little early to go autopilot on. It's alright, it's pretty flat here. Should have waited for 400 feet at least, or maybe 800. Okay, so weather at Raleigh-Durham, thunderstorms. Simultaneous, north moving northeast, distant all quadrants, lightning distant all quadrants. Going into Raleigh. Cool. Don't do this in real life. It's a bad idea. Okay, we'll bring it back to METO power. Beechcraft 8 Sierra Alpha contact Fayetteville departure on 133.0. 33.0 8 Sierra Alpha.
133.0 for Beechcraft 8 Sierra Alpha. Fayetteville departure Beechcraft November 218 Sierra Alpha is at 800 feet climbing 4,000 feet.
Let me move that. 2993. Okay, 500 feet per minute, 1100 for 4,000. And I'm going to turn on FLC. See what that gives us. Oop, just bump the throttles. Give it a little lean, just a little. And I would have cow flaps open right now, but for whatever reason, I don't think it's simulating CHTs at all. We'll keep an eye on our CHTs over here, see if they drop with the cow flaps open now. It should be plenty warm as it's sitting. Maybe I should put that over my head. No. Just look at that reflection in the window. Thanks, Juan. How you doing, brother? Yeah, if you move your head back far enough, you can see the G with that. You can fly IFR looking in the window. Night flight. Flying at night. Yeah, I'm having troubles with the chat, Juan. I'm sorry. I want to put it up there. I want to put it on the screen. Yes, the fancy shirt. You have your fancy shirt too. Let me see here. I don't know what we're learning tonight. Okay, interact. See, the chat just is not doing what I want it to do here. Filters, color key. Yep, and I can't even adjust it. Okay, so currently, if you didn't catch the first part of the stream, we're currently going from Fayetteville to Raleigh-Durham International because they actually have some thunderstorms going on. The first part of the live stream tonight, Juan, I really went on a rant about this sim game thing because I want to do something really special. Because I want to do something really special and fly from Bedford and island hop across the Atlantic over to England and I can't do it. The game won't let me do it. And it was so bad. How we doing? 3,000, 4,000, 1,000 to go. It was so bad that, like, the G1000 functionality, the avionics wouldn't support it. And I'm trying to do it in the Bonanza, because there's no 206 in the game, which was the original plan. Matt and I were going to take a 206 and island hop across the Atlantic with it. But once I was approaching Newfoundland, the avionics failed to function, failed to cycle waypoints, and then the game eventually crashed after I had it running for about 3 hours. And so I'm doing something else. So it seems I'm not going to do that. Raleigh-Durham. Okay, so I have an approach loaded. But I think the only reason that this approach is loaded is because we told the game to do it in the loading screen. In the select your mission and what you want to do flight. So when we created the navlog initially, before you get into this screen. And I think from there, that's the limit of what you can do. Or at least I haven't figured out how to change it. So anyway, 200 to go. We are going to switch back. Maybe we're not. Nope, because it's in capture mode. That's fine. So I had problems yesterday with the FLC mode, capturing altitudes. Bonanza. Yeah, we're in the Bonanza now. There's no 206 in the game. At 37 or 3,800 feet. Keep smacking the throttles. So say we were leveling off at 4,000 last night, which I wasn't. I was leveling off at 7. Actually, I was leveling off at 11, which was about the limit of what the airplane was really capable of with the weight that I had in it at the time. I did have a heavy bird. But the G1000 logic in the game at 10,700 feet was, okay, you've captured 11,000. And so at 10.7, climbing at everything that the airplane had left at like 200 feet per minute, it said, oh, I need to jump up to 11,000 feet. And it suddenly just gave it a whole boatload of elevator and stalled at 200 feet shy of the target altitude, and then you got to sit there and disconnect the autopilot and get the thing back under control. Just a real mess. All right, we'll pull this thing back here. Fly a little over square, 24 or 23. So anyway, the 206 is slow. It's about probably 10 knots. How we doing here? True airspeed 145 at 4,000 feet. It's maybe 5 to 10 knots slower than this Bonanza. Talking the turbo 206. This Bonanza is non-turbo, so it's normally aspirated Bonanza in the game. Really trying to fine-tune that power. So a 206 is about as fast as what this is. And I like the 206 because at the time I had access to a 206. And I mean, I still do if I ask, but I'm not going anywhere. And so just trying to recreate that journey. Now, 206 is pretty quick. If you get the turbocharged model, you're pushing 315, 325, 315. It's either 315 or 325 horsepower. Can't remember off the top of my head. 6 seats. Good payload. Lots of useful load. Nice airplane, and you can lean it out to about 17 gallons an hour at 100 and... I've had her at 160, 170 true at 9,000 feet, 10,000 feet. Heck, I've been up to... it's a 25,000 foot airplane, which is really nice. Once you get up to altitude, you capitalize on the 206. And a 206 can carry everything that you need in life, Juan. That's absolutely true. So if you ever get the opportunity to fly one of those or to own one of those, yeah, go ahead and do it. They're a very fun airplane that flies like a heavy 172, and it's at least like a familiar configuration. Almost need those on. Let's see here. There we go. Nope, I just moved the throttle. Okay, yeah. But in this Bonanza is kind of anemic. In a turbo Bonanza, we'd probably be doing 150, 155 right now. And I think it's the new Bonanzas and the new Barons and things like that aren't coming with the horsepower of maybe their older brethren. I don't know. Maybe it's just a limitation of the sim. That they put a normally aspirated Bonanza in here instead of a turbocharged one. It's not like the software, the coding isn't out there. DCS World has turbocharged and supercharged aircraft. The P-47 is supercharged. The 60. There might be a 50, but the one I'm familiar with is the 60 or the 62. As a twin, 6 seats, and those engines are quite powerful. It's a pretty nice platform. It's a very good wing. I think the 62 is a very good airplane. I am not the most comfortable person in diamond equipment, just being kind of taller, and all of my experience is in the 20 and the 40. So I haven't flown the 42, I haven't flown the 62 or anything like that. But in the 40, the seats are quite firm, and the only adjustment is in the pedals. So I'm tall, I have to take the pedals and reach down underneath the floor and grab the pin and move the pedals as far away as I can, and even then there's not a whole lot of adjustment to be made. So I'm not the most comfortable in that airplane. I've probably got 30 or 40 hours in a 40. 28.380 Alpha.
128.3 for Beechcraft 8 Sierra Alpha. Raleigh approach Beechcraft November 218 Sierra Alpha 4,000 feet.
But it was fast-ish. Had a nice G1000 in it. And when Kent was looking to replace their multi-engine aircraft back in... Kent State University was looking to replace their multi-engine aircraft back in 2012, 2013, something like that. I think it was 2012. Piper came in with new Seminoles, and Diamond came in with the new 42. The DA50 is the single-engine retract. Oh, I need to take a look at that. But the story with the DA42, you got a couple of pretty powerful engines mounted out on those wings, and if you shut one down, according to Part 23 certification, you can't have more than, I think it's 75 pounds of pressure on the rudder pedal. Or is it 150 pounds? Nah, I can't. I gotta look all this stuff up because I can't remember anymore. But that airplane had a rather small, very narrow dorsal empennage, and had all this added kind of dorsal fin and enhanced rudders and elevator, or horizontal stabilizer strakes, in order to try and increase lateral stability or stability about the vertical axis in yaw. And you needed every ounce of whatever that pound requirement was of rudder pressure in order to keep the aircraft in its zero side slip. Well, not zero side slip, but in the event that you lose an engine, to try and keep the thing from departing flight and spinning on you and losing it. You were using every ounce of that. So we decided not to go with that aircraft. I wasn't one of the test bots on this, but they decided not to go with that airframe, mainly because we do engine shutdowns as a training school, as a flight school. And so you don't necessarily want to be working that hard. I don't know. Now, the airframe itself is a very good airframe. The full authority digital engine control system was very good, and the engines were very reliable at the time. They'd had some early teething problems. They'd sorted all that out by the time we got to it. But these engines and airplanes are very, very reliable, so it's very unlikely that you would have the actual situation where you have an engine shutdown and you're having to use all that rudder pressure in order to keep the airplane coordinated. In that zero side slip. So, as a training aircraft, it wasn't going to be ideal for us. Now, the DA-50 single engine retract, it's neat that Diamond is making a single retract. That's pretty cool. Let me see if I can pull it up here. It's neat because they're basically bucking. Oh yeah, DA-50RG, look at that. They're basically bucking the insurance companies and the trends of no more retractable gear airplanes, no more complex aircraft in the classic definition of movable flaps, controllable pitch, and retractable gear. So if they can make this thing safe and inexpensive, because you have increased liability associated with that landing gear system, the insurance companies are going to go, well, that's a point of failure that's going to cause your plane to scrape in, and we're definitely going to total the airframe if that happens, yada, yada, yada. But 300 horsepower, that's nice. How big is the tail? Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Let's add browser. And it's not making it visible. Why you don't make it visible? Looks like I have to make a whole new scene. Fine, I'll make a new scene. Yep, we're turning. Nope, it doesn't want to load it. Okay, apparently. Oh, I can do this. Vectors ILS 23. It's your Alpha.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors ILS runway 23 left approach Beechcraft 8 Sierra Alpha.
Window capture. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, let's see here. Looking at this. Go away. Accept. Yeah, the doors are cool. 300 horsepower is nice, and I believe that's the diesel. RG looks like it's got flight into known icing. Did I see that on here somewhere? TKS de-icing system, which that says de-icing, which is very interesting because normally this is thought of as an anti-icing system because it has to be on before you get ice. Because if these little pinholes get plugged before, you will not be able to get rid of that ice. So this is a de-ice, or I'm sorry, an anti-ice system, not a de-ice system typically. But if they made it de-ice, then it must be hot as well. G1000 NXI flight deck is really nice. 3-axis GFC 700 autopilot, which means it's doing rudder. It's either doing rudder or it's doing throttles, which if it's got a FADEC, there's no reason it couldn't do throttles. Turbocharged engine, full FADEC. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So 300 horsepower, lots of torque going to be associated with that. You need a nice big rudder. You need nice big tail surfaces for that. And so this appears to kind of have things along those lines. So that's pretty nice. It looks like it's a pretty good airplane, 181 knots true airspeed. So that's true airspeed. Yep, diesel, so it's Jet A. 30-minute reserve, 750 nautical miles. 9 gallons an hour. A stout, 20,000 feet. You'll never be up there. Seats 5, you'll never have 5 people in it. And useful load of 1,200 pounds. More tech specs. More MT prop, which is interesting. MT, how do I know if that's aluminum or composite? Because if that's composite, you don't want to take it into weather. Huh. Fuel capacity, 50 gallons. 50 gallons. 300 pounds of gas. Useful load is 12, so 900 pounds for the people. Yeah, you could take 4 people in some bags. Yeah, the prop's interesting because I can't tell. Okay, so yeah, that's a composite prop. So that's not an aluminum prop. You have aluminum leading edges, which you need for going into any kind of weather, even rain, because the impact of the rain on the composite prop starts to erode the leading edge. And if you get erosion in carbon fiber, Juan, you tell me what happens. And now you have chunks of your propeller going different places, which is no good while you're flying. So it looks very interesting. Okay, what are we doing here? Has this even cycled? Alright, looks like we're on the approach somehow. I haven't pulled up the procedures here. What am I doing? 2-3 left or 2-3 right? 2-3 left. ILS 2-3 left, Raleigh Durham International, 1085, 234 on the course. Okay, so nav 1085. Oh, it was active. No, 110.5. 1085 is active. I can't change my CDI source. Let's just go to heading real quick. Change heading mode. We're in heading. CDI, just want to check. Localizer 234 course is set. Back on and back to nav mode. Don't be a glide slope. Don't be a glide slope. Okay. Radar required, DME required, simultaneous approach authorized, whatever. We got Mauser, A5, approach light system, missed approach, climb to 1100, then climbing left turn 2600 on heading 050, RDU Vortec 092, Disable intersection and hold. 23.8 for the ATIS. It's got the weird spacing. And Yeah, see, that's not the real. That's not the live weather. That's not the real weather that's happening right now. All right, I've got cute. I don't know. So, yes, I've had ice. Yeah, I've had ice. Ice sucks. Um, had ice a couple times in aircraft that were not designed, built, or equipped to handle the ice. And I've been in ice in aircraft that had icing systems, and that was not a big deal. Um, anyway, right now over Raleigh Durham is a thunderstorm. Like real world, what's happening right now? There's a thunderstorm, and the field is IFR. So it's supposed to be 1 statute mile, heavy rain, mist, scattered 600, broken 4100, cumulonimbus, overcast 5500. I'm not seeing any of that out here. There was one time I was in the 206. I got to change tanks. I was in the 206 over the Catskills going to Ohio at 10,000. And I was right at the tops of the clouds. I've been watching the temperature be +1, +1, +2 the entire flight. And as I flew along, I was just kind of paying attention to it. And then it finally hit 0. And so I looked out at the wing, and I saw some ice starting to build at the wing. And I was in a cloud, but I could see up above that there was I was right at the tops. And so if you looked up occasionally, you could see little bursts of stars. And so I call New York Center, New York Approach, New York Center, and said, New York Approach 206, picking up some ice here, request higher. Request 11,000. Sitting there waiting. Don't hear anything. I'm like, okay, try it again. New York Center 206, picking up some ice, request 12,000. Climb to 12,000. Didn't hear anything. And now I'm thinking, oh, great. Where the outside air temperature probe is, which is here, it's just now measuring freezing temperatures, but the antennas are up here. And maybe that little distance is enough that this antenna has been sitting in freezing water droplets, sub-zero water droplets this entire time, and is now covered in ice, and I'm unable to transmit and be heard, or they can't hear me. Or I can't hear them in their response to my request. And I'm starting thinking, okay, let's start thinking about switching radios and what are our next steps here. Because in that aircraft, there was no anti-ice other than pitot heat. There was prop heat, and there was windshield heat. That's all I had. And so after what seemed like an eternity went by, New York finally responded with Cessna 206 standby. And I was not expecting to hear standby. I was expecting him to hear, yeah, go ahead, climb 12,000, it's fine. And so I already had the autopilot queued up and the throttle coming in to start this climb, because I only needed, I could see the tops of the clouds. I could see that there were breaks. I knew I was right at the top of this. And so I start climbing. I throw the power in, and he's got his standby going. And I'm like, no, I'm not standing by. I'm not sitting here in the ice. And so I start to climb, and 200 feet later, I break out. And at 300 feet, he calls me, 206, I didn't tell you to leave that altitude. You're not allowed to climb. It's 11 o'clock at night in October over the Catskill Mountains. There's nobody else flying. There's no one else up. And he goes, you can't deviate from altitude unless you declare an emergency. And I said, 206, declaring an emergency. I'm climbing to 11,000. And I climb. And what did the temperature do once I got out at the top of the clouds? It starts going back up again. That's normal. You actually typically see that. And so it's +1. The ice is melting off. No big deal. I didn't pick up that much. No, they didn't give me a number. So I fly on for another, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes or so. And he gives me a new frequency. And I thank him. And I say goodnight. And I switch over. Hold on, I gotta look at this approach procedure. And I switch over to the next controller. There's nothing to do here. No altitude assignment, no nothing. Alright, we're for Docat. How far from Docat are we? 1.3. Okay, so we're about to start our descent. I switch over to the next controller, and I check in, normal, 206, IFR 11,000. Yeah, we copy 11,000, altimeter 2994 or whatever. I say, okay, 2994, and at this time, I'd like to cancel the emergency, no longer need that. And the controller goes, what? Yeah, I declared an emergency with the last controller, I just wanted to cancel that. And the controller goes, I knew nothing about that. The guy didn't even put it in. The guy didn't even put it in the system that I declared a mayday. And I'm like, thank you. Thanks for that. So that was that one experience with ice. Very atypical experience. Normally ATC is really, really good about things. So
Beechcraft 8 Sierra Alpha, you are 16 miles northeast of Raleigh. Maintain present heading and altitude. Contact Raleigh Tower on 127.45.
2745 8 Sierra Alpha.
Maintain present heading and altitude.
Another time.
7 decimal.
All right, close those
Beechcraft
cow
8
flaps.
Sierra Alpha.
Another time I was in a 172 RG.
Beechcraft November 218 Sierra Alpha, 16 miles northeast inbound ILS runway 23 left approach.
And we had just landed at a non-towered field off
Raleigh Tower.
that was away from Kent.
Runway 23 left approach.
Go for the approach.
Altimeter 29er decimal 9er 7 wind 129er at 9er. Cleared ILS runway 23 left approach.
Start slowing it down. 150. We can get our first notch of flaps. We had just landed, and we were on the roll. We'd done an instrument approach, so we were in the clouds. We touched down. We were going to taxi back and take off again. And as we were rolling down the runway, it started pouring down rain on us. And as it was raining, I looked at the outside air temperature gauge up on the wing root of the 172, and it said 0. And so then I leaned forward a little bit more and actually looked at the leading edge of the wing, and I could see the ice flowing and then creeping to a stop and solidifying in this little rivulet of ice. And it was freezing clear. It was just coating the airplane. And I looked over at the student and I said, we're done. And taxi up to the ramp. We're not going to continue. We'll park the airplane outside. We'll get a ride back. And that's basically where that story ends. Let's see, 1.5 dots. We'll bring the gear. We got a ride back to Kent, and 2 days later we went back out to that airport to pick the airplane up, and it had been sitting outside for the last couple days out in the weather, and we showed up to a Cessna Sickle. This thing had... Glide slope, capture it. You didn't capture it, because I didn't change the nav source. That's why. That's my bad. We didn't even add the power. Like, we were going to full stop, taxi back, take off again. But when we showed up 2 days later to the Cessna Sickle, it was like the entire aircraft had about a half an inch of ice over all of it. Coming down to 806. Okay. Over all of it, it was stuck to the ramp. The ramp had a half an inch of ice over all of it, and we had to chip it out, tow it with a tractor into a hangar, and let it melt. Heated hangar, and just let it all melt off. It was quite awful. And then it took like 2 hours for the airplane to thaw out, and then we did our pre-flight, took off, and flew back to Kent. And crystal clear day. It was not a big deal. There was another. That wasn't the first time. The first time I got ice, I did not know what I was in. I was on a night cross country with a flight instructor in a 172. Yeah, better on the ground compared to the air. I was with a flight instructor. It was nighttime, night cross country, IFR. And I'm flying along, fat and happy, got the autopilot on, and whatever. He shines his little flashlight out on the wing, and he's like, "We're picking up ice!" What? I'm picking up ice! ATC, 6 Kilo Sierra, request climb. And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead and climb." And he's like, "You need to climb now." And I add the power, and I climb up. I'm like, "What's the big deal, dude? It's a little bit of ice. What to do?" We climb out like 500 feet, and the ice is melting off the aircraft, and it's smacking into the tail of this 172. And it sounds like a midget with a hammer beating on the empennage of the aircraft. "What's up, Rough Rider?" How much ice? Depends on which time you're talking about, but this is my first ice encounter that I'm talking about now. We get out of the ice, everything melts off, and it's not a big deal. And I'm like, why was my flight instructor freaking out so much about like this ice? Like, whatever. The next day in class in the ground school, we're covering ice, and the instructor's showing us this video from like the 1950s that was made by the U.S. government with like animations and stuff, and it's showing the ram's horn developing on the leading edge, which completely destroys aerodynamic flow. And I'm just sitting there going, "Oh, that's why ice is bad. I get it now."
Beechcraft 8 Sierra Alpha cleared to land runway 23 left.
Clear to land 23 left. 8 Sierra Alpha.
Land runway 23 left.
I had no idea
Sierra Alpha.
like how much danger we were in, and so that was the first time I had ice. That was like, the one I had to tow in. The entire airframe was covered with about a half inch of that was covered with a half inch of ice after it sat outside 2 days in freezing rain and snow and junk and stuff. We landed the aircraft as the rain began, and I was watching it freeze on the wing, streaking across. Like, we weren't up flying when we had any in it. But there was a time when I was a brand new flight instructor with a student pilot, and we took off and turned crosswind into just this downpour that came out of nowhere that was freezing rain. And from crosswind downwind base final to the landing, when we parked it in the hangar, which we pulled straight into the hangar, we were up maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, not very long at all, because I went screaming around the pattern. We had a ram's horn on the leading edge, on every leading edge, from wing strut, the wing leading edge, the horizontal stab leading edge, the gear struts, all of it had a ram's horn on it, and we were in it maybe 2 minutes. It was nasty ugly. So don't mess with ice. Absolutely do not mess with ice. Especially in an aircraft that has no protection, like a Cessna 172. How did I even get on? Oh, Juan asked about ice. That's what happened. Rough Rider, how you doing? Good to see you, brother. We're coming into land. What's the airport elevation? I forgot. 435. Oh yeah, Mins are 8. Okay, so much for live weather, Microsoft. There's a thunderstorm over top of Raleigh-Durham right now, and I can see the moon. Oh, there was some lightning, I think. Finally. I'm actually trying to find weather. No, I hate it. I hate it. I'm mad at the avionics. The avionics are garbage. The interface is garbage. The flight model is garbage. The graphics look great. But so far, it's not good. I'm not impressed at all. I've got multiple videos on YouTube stating that I'm not impressed. Yeah, and let's see here. Okay, we'll kill the autopilot. Get her slowed down here. Full flaps. Thousand footers. Nailed it. Sunline. Oh, live weather screwy. I mean, I didn't build it. I don't know what it takes.
Beechcraft 8 Sierra Alpha exit runway when able.
Okay. Let's see if my escape key works. Hey, escape key worked this time. Cool. All right, guys. I'll do what flight do you guys want me to do? I'll do a flight. I don't care. I'll fly anything. So at the beginning of the stream, Rough Rider, I laid out this whole thing I was disappointed in. I want to fly from the U.S. over to England, and I want an island hop. And the databases aren't quite there. The information's not quite there to do it right now. So at least in the Bonanza, I could probably easily do it in the 7.4, but where's the challenge in that? You know? What else? We're missing the Baron 58's supposed to be in here. There's a couple other aircraft that are supposed to be in here. And I can't even find any information online about when the release dates are for some of these things. Anyway, the aerobatic aircraft fly like crap. The flight models on those are horrendous. The CJ, the CJ4 doesn't fly horrible. It ain't bad, but the systems in it are garbage. Trenton Tool CFS alert tool is not in the database. I don't know if it has the same issues. Where'd it go? If it has the same database, there's more in my history. Why will it not remember? Digga. This one I'm just going to change to preset day. Boom. If our direct, that's fine. I mean, I can do low altitude airways. Just do direct. Gonna do the RNAV. That's fine. Fly. Let's see what this loads. Thule, Greenland. Now markers radio beacons are there and you can tune into them, just no runway. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, that'd be a fun flight. I think that'd be a good one. So I haven't even made it. I went to Gander. I was trying to go to Gander last night. So I'd set this up yesterday to test it, so the stream would work. So there'd be like a decent product for me to put out there for you guys. And Sam ran for like 3.5 hours. Went to activate the approach, and it turned me around 180 degrees to go to a waypoint behind me, which I'm like, that's weird. And then started back towards the actual approach. I'm like, okay, fine. And then as I started the descent, the entire sim crashed. And I was like, 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. I should have been recording that. just to get the reaction. But Canadian military does that on a regular basis, resupply runs and such. Yeah. That would be totally cool. I love that adventure stuff. The stuff that I can't afford to do in real life.
Anscombe Tower Dayer November 218 Sierra Alpha ready for IFR departure runway 29er. Dayer November 218 Sierra Alpha cleared for takeoff runway 29er.
That's accurate. It was actually the east ramp.
Runway 29er Dayer November 218 Sierra Alpha.
Whoa. Chop much? Okay. Those hangars actually do kind of look like the east ramp. Okay, we got the things here and the stuff set and the flaps are in the right spots. And the park and brake, I think, is off. Yep. Okay, let's get that throttle going forward. The right rudder action. Oh, I didn't set up the fuel. I didn't do any of that stuff. Seems important. Positive rate, tap the brakes, gear up. Flaps up. No. Nav. Yeah, dampener. There's 400 feet. Let's go vertical speed. Autopilot on. Flight director should be somewhere here. There it is. It's giving me a left turn, huh?
Boston departure Dayer November 218 Sierra Alpha is at 7.
Oh, of course I don't have
5,000 feet.
5,000. Okay, I need an altitude select in there. That's why I didn't do it. Let's go FLC mode. Just buzzing Concord, that's all. Those people never called noise complaints in. Ever. That's low, careful. 400 feet, man. 400 feet. Okay, I gotta pull the throttle back. Alright, thank you. Torx 92, ITT, yeah, that was up there in the red. Okay. Co-pilot is doing radios, fuel. And we're overweight. Oh no. No, we're not. Got some peoples. Let's put Juan in the back. And Rough Rider, you can be in the back. And you guys brought some baggage. It's 120 pounds worth of baggage. And yeah, okay, we're 10 pounds underweight. Perfect. Just like the Cherokee. I'm sure 1,700 feet a minute. That's a heavy one. I'm sorry. Marker mute. I don't even know where it is. Okay, flaps are up. At least I got those that time. Fuel tank should be all auto. That stuff's up here. I like having bright lights. On. Off. And yeah, you're all good. Okay. 7,000, 8 Sierra Alpha.
Climb and maintain 7,000 feet, Dayer 8 Sierra Alpha.
That's a heavy one. Okay, heavy one. Let's see, which one was one? I think this was one. Let's go 150 pounds. I haven't seen your medical. I don't know. 200 knots. You are supposed to be in FLC mode. Why are you no longer in FLC mode? Whoop, nope. Man, this thing screams. Pressurization, I want to say is automatic. I might be wrong about that. Let's see, it's rendered somewhere. Let's see. Okay, so we got pressurization is in auto. Is there anything in here for that? No. So yeah, it's just auto. Cabin pressure should be actually listed right here. Okay, so cabin pressure is changing at 500 feet per minute. Currently, the cabin pressure is the same as 1,600 feet as we pass through 6,800. Just clear our masters. Master cautions. Let's crank up the AC, though. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Okay. Booyakasha. Okay, so will this actually get us there? I have no idea. And actually, 7,000 is a waste. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. And request an increase by 8,000. We'll go to 15,000.
Request 15,000 feet. Dare 8 Sierra Alpha climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Climb and maintain
Out of 7 for 15, 8 Sierra Alpha. Okay, let's go Felch and let's climb at 200 knots.
Dare 8 Sierra Alpha contact Boston Center on 133.325.
133.325.
Going to 133.325 Dare 8 Sierra Alpha.
Oops.
Boston Center Dare November.
He already did it. He already did it!
8,100 feet, climbing 15,000 feet.
Co-pilot's too quick.
Sierra Alpha Boston Center, continue to zone him as planned. Altimeter 30.09er.
Okay, so we're just going to skip to the approach.
Dare 8 Sierra Alpha contact Boston departure.
Because why not? I actually have to pull it up in here. CYQX, Gander, International, Procedure. What did I pick? I picked the RNAV 3-1. Okay, 8 is 24.8, approach 28.5, tower 18.1, ground 21.9, 3,800 is our safe altitude. Approach course 308, min altitude at goes in 1100, LDA 8900. Wow, that's high. And we should be 2100 at Irpis, left turn 11 to 308, goes in 21 down to 900. Ready to fly. Okay, everybody remembers all that, right?
Dare 8 Sierra Alpha contact Gander Center on 134.9er.
Autopilot is not doing its thing, or it is. I can't tell. I cannot tell. Altitude, just hold me wherever I am. Okay. Problems. Okay, that's badish. Go away.
Dare 8 Sierra Alpha contact Gander Center on 134.6. 134.6 for Dare 8 Sierra Alpha. Gander Center Dare November 218 Sierra
CYQX Gander. Enter.
feet, descending 7,000 feet.
Origin en route.
Dare November 218 Sierra Alpha Gander Center, continue
Oh.
to Irvis as planned.
Why is it zooming me? Goes in Levid, Irpis, approach. I want to activate the approach. Okay. Procedure. Approach. Just going to click activate. Okay, so that'll take us there. We'll get this over into approach mode. We go nav mode. I just can't tell if it's working. And we need to come down. Okay. We have to orient ourselves here. Got master cautions. Got all kinds of stuff going on. Whoa! That was a lot of torque. Okay, alright.
Sierra Alpha, you are 300 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 7,000 feet altimeter 29.44. Descend and maintain 7,000 feet day rate Sierra Alpha.
Okay. He wants us at 7,000. We can do 7,000. Auto throttle's on. Is it? This doesn't have that, does it? That's the 7th frequency change in 3 minutes.
November 218 Sierra Alpha is at 7,500 feet, descending 7,000 feet. Dare November 218 Sierra Alpha Gander Center, continue to Urbis as planned.
Okay, continue to Urbis. Urbis is 70 miles away. Throttle back up. Okay, so 70 miles away. Got 5,000 feet to lose. And we're doing 275 over the ground. 4.5 miles a minute. So 13 minutes to lose 5,000 feet, even at 500 feet per minute. That's only 10 minutes. So we got 3 minutes to top a descent. I'm at 7,000. What's the altimeter saying? 2944. That's why. My bad. My bad, everybody. My bad. That makes a big difference. Everybody catch that? Everybody see what happened there? The wrong altimeter setting in. Looking at UFO. Oop. Okay. No, that would only cause me hitting a mountain. I mean, you can clearly see that we were 500 feet lower than what we were indicating, so there's a problem there with not resetting your altimeter. So watch out for that. That's real world killer stuff. People flying into mountains for that kind of thing. Okay, so yeah, we'll be down at 2,100. Min altitude is 900. I wonder. I swear those are flashing. Yaw damper off. Maybe that's why. It's the only warning I had. Nope, they're still... What are they doing? Whatever. How's our range here? How do I zoom you out? It would be the autopilot. Whoop, whoop. Range should be this. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah, okay. Urpus. Levad. Yep. Left-hand turn. Why? Okay. So, here's what this appears like it's going to do. It's going to take us to the airport, overfly, and then circle around to Urpus instead of taking us from here to Urpus. And that's the active loaded approach. That makes 0 sense. It says it's taking us there. It's like user waypoint. Direct. Bedford. No. Back. Okay, it's probably something simple here. Like a twist. Like a twist. Like a twist. Nope. It's none of that. Why won't it let me go straight there? Anybody have any suggestions? Because I got nothing. That just doesn't make any sense. Why? Like, what is this user? I mean, I get it if it's that. That is fine. But we can clearly see that it's got this S in here. And the aircraft is not on a track towards Irpus. Oh, I'm about to screw this up real bad. I know this isn't going to work. Bearing 104.43. How? How? But the approach is no longer active. Whatever. Okay. So what we'll have to do, and I worry about this, is once we get closer, which will be there in 9 minutes, we should start our descent. But he didn't clear us to descend either. So this may be a slam dunk approach where there might be terrain in the way. Trying to look on the PFD and see if there's terrain. If there's terrain in the way, they'll bring you in above it, but it says the safe altitude for 100 nautical miles is 3,800 feet, so I should be able to come down to 3,800. He just hasn't given me a descent, and I would have expected a descent a minute and a half ago, based on what we already said our timing was. I suppose I could slow down. Still technically legal as far as the speed is concerned. 243. We're below 10. I don't know what the laws are in Gander or in Newfoundland. Is that technically Canada? Yeah, it's Canada. Anyway, while we're waiting, head on over to spreadaviation.com and click the swag button. Order your shirt. It comes with free stickers. Where are my stickers? I lost my stickers already. I have more, though. Use code INSTA. Like Instagram, but Insta for 10% off. Okay, so we're headed to Irpus. I'm expecting a descent. And at this point, it's going to be like 750 feet per minute. Next Newfie. Oh! I think I just said something offended. I'm sorry, Rough Rider. I'm an ignorant American. I can claim that. Oh, if I click this request instrument.
Gander Center Dare November 218 Sierra Alpha would like to change destination to Gander.
This is going to screw everything up.
Dare November 218 Sierra Alpha is cleared to Gander Airport as filed. Squawk Tree 643.
I shouldn't have done that.
Dare November 218 Sierra Alpha cleared to Gander Airport as filed. Squawk Tree 643. Dare 8 Sierra Alpha read back correct. Radar contact.
No.
Altimeter 29er decimal 42 turn left heading 090 resume on navigation climb and maintain 17,000 feet.
17,000 feet.
Turn left heading 090 29er, resume on navigation climb and maintain 17,000 feet Dayor 8 Sierra Alpha. Dayor 8 Sierra Alpha, contact approach on 128.5.
Okay. 28.5. I hope this doesn't royally screw everything up.
Approach Dayor November 218 Sierra Alpha is climbing through 7,000 feet for 17,000 feet.
No, I'm not. I'm not climbing through 7 for 17. I'm not doing it.
Sierra Alpha approach continue as planned. Altimeter 29er.42.
Okay, good. There's even more that I'm not aware of, apparently, Rough Rider. Thank you. Glad I can make a funny and still be an ignorant American. Okay, here's what we're doing.
Approach Dayor 8 Sierra Alpha. Cancel IFR at this time. Dayor 8 Sierra Alpha IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved. Approach Dayor November 218 Sierra Alpha is type Dayor TBM 918 miles southwest of Gander. Request flight following.
No, I'm not. I'm not requesting flight following. Stop requesting flight following.
218 Sierra Alpha approach. Squawk 7252.
Whoop. Whoa, whoa, hey, whoa, whoa.
Squawk 7252 Dayor 8 Sierra Alpha. Dayor 8 Sierra Alpha radar contact 16 miles southwest of Gander, 6,600 feet. Altimeter 29er.42.
Don't you turn me around. Don't you do it.
Copy Dayor 8 Sierra Alpha. Tower Dayor November 218 Sierra Alpha is 16 miles southwest with Alpha to land.
Go away.
November 218 Sierra Alpha Tower. Enter left downwind runway 31. Altimeter 29er.42 wind 287 at 15.
Shouldn't have done that.
Enter left downwind runway 31 Dayor 8 Sierra Alpha.
Wait, what? No, RNAV. RNAV 3-1. Load and activate. That's worse! Okay, does anybody know how I got to this screen? Transition, pet mood, no, Irpus. Load and activate. See, look at that. Just take me to Irpus, please. Just, whatever. Heading mode. It's not gonna cycle. Just... Oh, yeah. Yeah, flight models can be fixed. They just need to talk to somebody who's flown a stinking airplane. And, or at least flown these. Like the extra that's in this game. I don't know if you saw the previous streams I did where I flew the extra in here. It's hot garbage. It's absolute trash. Let me turn on de-ice. And it's not like it can't be done because I've worked with companies like DXM Engineering who made the extra 330 SC and did flight model for the Edge 540 in DCS World. And we got it real darn close. It's not perfect yet, but we got it real darn close. What else? What else we worked on? I mean, the Cubs, probably not hard to find pilots. The A330, or I'm sorry, the A320, there's 1,000 pilots right now without jobs that can talk to you about how that aircraft flies. Juan, you take care. Be safe, brother. Hope everything's working out for you. So weird. Sequence. I wish I could edit the sequence. Whatever. And where's it tracking me to? Yeah, we're getting there. Let's push the power back up. So yeah, I mean, flight models can be fixed. When I purchased Prepare 3D a couple years ago and was making videos for students, I actually had to tweak the Lua files in order to get the aircraft to behave like a real 172. And then I was using the Commander 114 as a commercial sim, as a commercial trainer, and I had to tweak the Lua file for it as well in order to get it doing what I wanted it to do, or how I wanted it to fly. Man, this isn't going to work because of what I've now done. Okay, boom, nav mode, approach. Ah, it's going to turn around still. Whatever, might as well just keep the power up. It's going to turn around. Okay, 2100, it's capturing. It's going to fly this arc for no reason whatsoever. It's going to fly this arc. So anyway, yeah, flight models can be fixed, and frankly, flight models should not be the broken part of a flight simulator. I'm not yelling at you, I'm just yelling in general. To land 3-1. So that's why the title of this stream is Microsoft Scenery Simulator 2020. I suppose I should look outside. Oh, pretty. Minimum altitude for this circle. Yeah, 21. That keeps us clear. It is a beautiful game. But until flight models are fixed, it's a beautiful game. That's it. It looks great. It really, really does. But it's not a flight sim. Okay, I'm waiting for it to make that turn. I got a detent on my throttle, so I can't find 100% on the toric, but that's alright. So anyway, if Matt from Spread Aviation, who's part of the podcast, and I had gotten to do this trip out to England for New Year's back in like 2015, this would have been our first stop in the 206. And so here I am, finally arriving at this destination, because I can't do it in the real world. But I'm happy to do it here, and maybe we'll still put a series together for YouTube that is this journey. Yeah, Rough Rider, now that it's out the door, the feedback levels will go up and they'll be able to get things adjusted. I know at least one of the alpha testers that was working on this game. And he said he was disappointed at the response to feedback. So I don't want to say this was a cash grab. I don't want to say that, but they drummed up a lot of interest and they charged a lot of money. And I don't even have all the airplanes that we paid for. They're not in here yet. And I've searched online to see if, really, I want the Baron 58. I want to fly the 58. I got a specific mission for it. And it's not in here. It's in the package that I paid for, and I've searched online in the forums, and the only fix was for Steam, and that doesn't make any sense. So I'm wondering why I'm missing airplanes, and if they're not done, I don't know. Why did they release it? They set a date, I guess, and they couldn't change it. 2020 was already horrible, so maybe they were just like, we can't disappoint everybody, so they released something that disappointed, I don't know, me. And I think also with my disappointment in this is that I held it up to this high standard that comes from my memory as a kid of playing this game, and it's sparking the passion for aviation in me. And it was probably just as flawed, if not worse, back then, to be honest. But we don't remember it that way. We remember it as, wow, this is so cool. We remember it as that. And it's kind of like, maybe it's like that phrase, never meet your heroes. Because you may meet that person, that baseball player, or that pilot that you looked up to, or whomever, and you realize that they're a drunk that smells like rotten fish or something, and you're like, oh, this doesn't match my expectations at all, and you're disappointed by that, and that memory of your hero is not tainted. And I'm worried. I am hopeful that that's all this is that I remember this being better, and that I'm holding it to this impossible standard that there was no way it could ever live up to. But the next generation of pilot, the next generation of simmer, the next Chuck Yeager, the next Bob Hoover, they're being inspired by this. I swear, if you go back, it's going back, Rough Rider. Do you see this? It's going back. Was it not? I'm going to manual. The problem is I can't even cycle the waypoints. We're just visual. We're clear to land. We're gonna go land. Man, anyway, I'm hoping that this is still as inspiring to the next generation of pilot and flight simmer that the originals were to me. I'm hoping that only like real pilots notice this stuff, and I'm hoping that I'm the only one that is irked by this. I'm hoping that the next generation of pilot is not turned off by the glaring flaws in this sim. I hope that they don't get into a real airplane with the expectation of how it's going to handle, perform, react to their inputs. I know, I have to slow down. One of my favorite experiences was taking a 13-year-old kid on his birthday. His parents brought him out to the airport. And bought him a Discovery flight. I was a young flight instructor. And when he was telling me about why he wanted to be a pilot and how he flew Microsoft Flight Simulator, I was like, oh, cool, dude. I do that too. I think that's really neat. How many hours would you say you've played that game? He's like, oh, thousands. I've played thousands of hours. I was like, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do all the pre-flight and the run-up and the taxi and all that. And once we're on the runway, I'm going to give you the flight controls. And you're going to fly. And I'll talk you through it. But I'm going to let you fly the airplane. And we flew for an hour. I never touched the controls until after the wheels were back on the runway. It's the darndest thing I'd ever seen. A 13-year-old kid, never flown an airplane before, just listened to what I had to tell him. We flew steep turns. We flew slow flight. We did some stalls. We did some turns around his house. He flew the approach. I did the flaps. But he flew airspeeds, power settings, attitudes, altitudes, everything. Until we were back on the ground. I didn't have to touch that airplane once. Fast forward 4 years later, 5 years later. Summertime, Kent State University. I'm walking through the lobby and I hear, "That's him! That's the guy!" And I'm like, oh crap, what'd I do now? And I look, and here's that kid with his parents standing there smiling. And he goes, "You took me on a Discovery flight on my 13th birthday, and it was awesome." And I go, "Dude, I remember you. What's going on?" He goes, I'm starting here at Kent." Like, that's awesome, dude. Well, welcome to Kent. And I left. That was the month I left to come out to Boston and start my new job. Okay, get rid of the thrust reverse. We made it. We made it to Newfoundland. We made it to Canada. Somebody gave me some maple syrup and some Molson. Is it Molson? Give me some Canada Dry. Give me some ginger ale. Am I still in reverse? Yeah, I know. Oh, my ITTs are way hot? Yeah, no kidding. Let's go forward now. There we go. Need to kiss a cod first. You Canadians and your crazy traditions. Kiss a cod. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Do I have to buy it dinner first, or like, is this a real tradition? It's a Newfie thing. Okay. You have apparently spent some time there, Rough Rider. I don't know anything about this. This is at least entertaining. Learning all these things. How much gas do we even have? It's too hard to read that. 54%. It's impressive. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Where do I go? Give me a progressive. Do I have an airport diagram? Taxiways. Is this Echo? I don't know. As an American, I claim this taxiway as Taxiway Echo. It's no label. Okay, 219. 8 Sierra Alpha.
Going to 121.9er Dair 8 Sierra Alpha.
Ah. Okay, so we're on Echo. There's a ramp around here somewhere. Gander's on the other side. The FBO's on the other side. Okay. Well, I mean, this was fun and all. I'm actually blown away that my escape key has continued to work for an hour and a half straight. Because the last couple streams, the last couple of times through this game, the keyboard just quit working. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Yeah. And do this. We're going to blast off out of New York. One. And go. I should have changed the fuel in it. That's fine. Can change it in the menu. Okay, I'm going to take this thing up for a flight. I have flown every variant of the Extra 330 series of aircraft. This flies nothing like any of them in a bad way. Okay, the soundtrack got me. I do like this little soundtrack. I've got it turned way down though, so you guys can't hear it. I don't want to get copyrighted. I'm wondering where this tail number came from. XGS 1. See how our temps are doing. 54, 58. It's not a big ram hog. We'll check the frames on this. We'll see. I want to say I have this capped at 60, but I don't know.
Newark Tower Extra November to 18 Sierra Alpha, ready for straight out departure at runway 11.
Oh yeah. We're gonna go buzz the Statue of Liberty. Okay. Ugh. Ugh. Of course, the parking brake is on an aircraft that doesn't have a parking brake. Roll. That was a crap roll. It like winds up and then overshoots. Real extras are almost binary. It's either rolling or it's not rolling at whatever rate you put the stick in at. You put the stick in a little, it's going right now. You put it in a lot, it's going a lot right now. And this does this wind up thing. And then it coasts to a stop. No.
Newark Tower Extra November 218 Sierra Alpha, frequency change.
Okay, 60 frames a second in New York.
18 Sierra Alpha is type extra, 302 miles east of Newark, 600 feet. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace.
Where is that lady? Is that lady?
Sierra Alpha, New York approach. Squawk 4624. Squawk 4624 Extra 8 Sierra Alpha.
There she is. See if the Intrepid is here.
Contact 3 miles east of Newark, 1,000 feet. Cleared through the Bravo airspace. Cleared through the Bravo airspace, Extra 8 Sierra Alpha.
Okay, I definitely don't have it capped, so 80 frames. It's not bad. It's actually using the CPU, which is nice. So that's the one thing that this has over DCS World, definitely. Well, besides graphics, is the multi-threaded. Oh, nope. Realistic distractions. Okay. All right.
Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved extra 8 Sierra Alpha. New York approach extra November 218 Sierra Alpha is type extra 307 miles east of Newark, 300 feet. Request clearance to transition.
Let's see. I want to see if the Intrepid is here.
Extra November 218 Sierra Alpha, New York approach. Squawk 1056.
1056. I just want to shut the radio off. Here.
Extra 8 Sierra Alpha radar contact.
Okay. We're just going to go bust in airspace.
300 feet. Cleared through the Bravo airspace. Maintain on navigation.
Oh, nav. 108 Alpha.
Cleared through the Bravo airspace extra 8 Sierra Alpha.
Okay. The Intrepid should be up ahead.
Extra 8 Sierra Alpha.
On the right-hand side.
Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
Okay.
Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved extra 8 Sierra Alpha.
Okay. Cruise ship loading dock. And the Intrepid should be... Yep, there it is. So there's the cover for the space shuttle. I don't know why it has trees and stuff growing out of it. There's the Concorde SR-70. Well, the YF... Is it a YF-12A or is it an SR-71? I think it's an actual SR-71. F-14's there. Looks like they got most of it. The trees I don't understand, but... Yeah. Alright. Submarines there. Sorta. It's kind of underwater. That's cool. And are we about to die? Yep. Okay. I think the airplane would perform pretty well in Death Valley. Nice thick air. Okay, so let's see. New Year's 2017 to 18. I watched the ball drop from right in here somewhere, looking all the way down there. Right there on the edge of Central Park. Wow, frame just dropped. I gotta see what that is now. 60s, 46, 52. 2080 is on the struggle bus. Of course, it's also rendering a stream. 38, 28, 30. Seems choppier than that. It just feels like it's really chugging. It's definitely not smooth. Let's get down in here. Oh, did I just go through Times Square? I did. It says it's doing 40 frames, but it certainly doesn't feel like 40 frames. Oh, come on. I didn't touch anything. That looked pretty good. I don't know. Main menu. Structural damage to the aircraft. Shenanigans. There's no way I pulled more than 10 Gs. The airplane's good to well beyond 10. Whatever. Alright, well that's all I got for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us on the Monday Night Livestream. Check us out, spreadaviation.com. as well as Spread Aviation on Instagram, YouTube, and this Facebook. That's the one I'm forgetting about. Thank you for joining us here on the Monday Night Live Stream. If you enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell your enemies. We'll take their money too. And if you feel like getting one of these nice blue shirts that comes with stickers as well for free, head on over to spreadaviation.com. Click on the swag button at the top right-hand corner, and get your purchase in there as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Rough Rider. Always good to hear from you, and thank you all very much for coming out. Have a great night, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care. No, I don't want that one.